Zamfara government takes sensitization to abattoirs, butchers and food vendors. Former ANEC chairman says they have found cure to coronavirus. Now students call on the federal government to mobilize them for service. On business, OPEC will go beyond what the market has currently priced it. And on the international scene, Minister refuses to shake hands with Merkel over coronavirus. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. My name is Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. The Zamfara State Ministry of Health has embarked on sensitization campaign to public places as part of its measures to prevent coronavirus and Lassa fever in the state. The Commissioner of Health, Alhaji Yahya Mohammed Kanoma, led the sensitization campaign team to abattoirs and food vendors in Gusau. Alhaji Yahya Kanoma said that the measure is part of the government's concern to protect the health of its people. He said though the state remains Lassa fever and coronavirus free, the state government is partnering with development agencies to strengthen proactive measures against the two viruses in the state. Alhaji Yahya Mohammed Kanoma said they are there to sensitize abattoir operators, butchers and food vendors on precaution measures in order to avoid the risks of the diseases in the state. The Commissioner urged food vendors and abattoir managers in the state to ensure good hygiene and best environmental health practices while carrying out their businesses. He also called on the general public to give priority to hand washing, environmental sanitation, and other proactive measures. The Commissioner also met with the state officials of the Nigerian Union of Transport Workers, where they sensitized their members on the need to sanitize their vehicles and parks. Former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Maurice Iwu, said on Monday that his team had discovered a cure for the deadly coronavirus. Professor Iwu, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Bioresources Institute of Nigeria, stated this when he led his team of researchers to brief the Minister of Science and Technology, Obanaya Onu, and his health counterpart, Dr. Osagi Ehanire in Abuja. He said the institute identified and patented the possible COVID-19 treatment in 2015 and now needs the federal government's support to translate the compound into a drug for the treatment of the virus. Nigeria recorded its first case of coronavirus last Friday, and over 20 persons who had contact with the index case had been quarantined. Students of National Open University of Nigeria (NOUN) have appealed to the federal government and other appropriate authorities to mobilize them for the National Youth Service School (NYSC) scheme and also admit their law graduates to the Nigerian law schools. Addressing a press conference at the correspondent chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Osogbo, Ogun State on Monday, the president of the Student Union of NOUN, Osogbo Campus, Basiru Omotayo, asked the Federal Ministry of Education and the National Universities Commission (NUC) to direct the management of NYSC and Nigerian law schools to comply with the NOUN Act. Mr. Omotayo said the federal government was yet to implement NOUN Act, which was signed into law on December 4, 2018. Adding that the Act allows graduates of the Distance Learning Center to participate in the National Youth Service School scheme and also gain admission into law schools. The students who displayed various placards during the conference threatened to embark on mass protests across the country should their demands be ignored. They, however, issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government and other concerned authorities to meet their demands. Mr. Omotayo said it was an act of injustice that graduates of NOUN could not have the same rights, benefits and privileges as their mates in conventional federal-owned universities. It is no more news that the bill that allows National Open University graduates to participate in NYSC scheme and admitted in law schools has been signed by President Muhammadu Buhari since December 4, 2018. Still, nothing has been done so far to implement it. The noun is the Federal Open and Distance Learning Institute accredited by NUC, and it is the first of its kind in the West African sub-region, and it is Nigeria's largest tertiary institution in terms of student population. Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State said on Monday that his administration will not negotiate with bandits or grant them amnesty. The governor also apologizes for his administration's inability to protect the people. The governor made the remarks when he visited Karewa and 4 other villages in Igabi and Giwa local government area, where 51 villages were massacred by bandits in an early morning attack on Sunday. NAN reports that 4 houses and 6 vehicles were destroyed in the attack, while the villagers are still searching for their missing family members. A report said if not for the security agencies' prompt intervention, they would have wiped out the entire villages. The governor said he came to apologize for failure to protect them fully, assuring them that they are doing their best to minimize such incidents. Governor El-Rufai said the banditry issue will be addressed because security personnel are on ground to manage the situation. He lamented that in Kaduna there is vast land. If the security close one area, they attack another area. The governor told the villagers that he had asked the security agencies to wipe out the bandits. He said it is their duty to wipe them out, and until they send them to their maker, the security agencies are taking the war to the forest and they are eliminating them. The governor prayed for peaceful response of the souls of those who died and directed the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, to provide relief materials for the victims. News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the villages attacked were Hashimawa, Marina, Kerawa, Unguwa Musa, and Zariawa. The governor was accompanied by the GOC 1 Division, Commissioner of Police, Director SSS, and Chairman of Igabi and Giwa local government councils. Earlier, the district head of Karewa, Alhaji Ibrahim Damu, called on the state government to intensify efforts in tackling security challenges in the area, as the people were living in constant fear. He also urged residents to be vigilant at all the times. The House of Representatives Committee on Works will summon the Minister of Works, Babatunde Raji Fashola, and other officials of the ministry over alleged plan to fund ongoing road projects with the $308 million recovered Abacha loot. The summons was part of an investigation following the resolution of the House last week on a motion moved by Chudi Momo Abga Anambra on the need to investigate the ongoing Lagos-Ibadan, Abuja-Kaduna Zaria-Kano expressways and the second Niger Bridge projects. The committee, headed by Engineer Abubakar Kabiru Abubakar, APC Kano, extended its investigation to the utilization of the Abacha loot after an earlier allegation of inflation on the ongoing contracts. A source in the committee told Daily Trust they have received the mandate to investigate the matter, so they are summoning the minister, Bega, and other stakeholders. Apart from the concern on the slow pace of the ongoing projects and other issues, it is absorbed to inject the recovered $308 million, which already has source of funds set aside for their execution. The committee had over 2 months ago summoned the officials of Julius Berger Nigeria PLC to express their displeasure over the scope of work done compared to the funds released to the company. It could be recalled that the spokesperson, the fund's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ferdinand Wanke, was quoted saying that the $308 million will be used to fund the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, and the second Niger Bridge, and will be supervised by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. The Supreme Court has dismissed the application for the review of the decision sacking former Governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, and declaring Hope Uzodinma winner of the March 9, 2019 judgment. A 7-member panel of justices presided by Justice Tanko Mohammed on Tuesday ruled that the court lacks the jurisdiction to sit on appeal over its judgment on the Imo State governorship. In the main judgment, read by Justice Olukayode Ariwola, held that the application lacked merit and dismissed the application. The judgment of the Supreme Court, according to him, is finality. The judge, however, said no cost will be awarded against the applicants. Justice Weze, however, delivered a dissenting judgment. Earlier, counsel to PDP and Ihedioha, Kanu Agabi-san, asked the Apex Court to set aside the judgment of January 14th and uphold the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which dismissed the petition by Izodinma. But counsel to Izodinma, Damian Dodo-san, said the Supreme Court judgment actually set aside every decision of the Court of Appeal, which he described as tsunami. He added that there was no ambiguity in the judgment of the Supreme Court, which declared his client winner. Ihedioha and the PDP had an application dated February 5, 2020 and brought through his counsel, Kanu Agabi-san, asked the Apex Court to set aside its judgment of January 14th, which nullified his victory in the March 9, 2019 election and declared Hope Izodinma of the APC winner of the election after he presented excluded results from 388 polling units. Recall that in its judgment, a 7-member panel of justices presided over by Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Tanko Muhammad, held that Ihedioha was not validly elected as governor by majority of lawful votes cast in the election. The panel therefore ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Ihedioha and a fresh certificate of return issued to Izodinma forthwith, and he should be sworn in as governor immediately. In the main judgment, read by Justice Kudrat Kekere Okun, the Apex Court held that Izodinma proved the allegation of exclusion of results in 388 polling units of the state, where he scored 213,695 votes. President Muhammadu Buhari has on Tuesday in Abuja said stronger diplomatic ties with Hellenic Republic and Republic of Cuba will bolster Nigeria's ongoing efforts to diversify the economy, improve global competitiveness, and reposition the country to play more leading roles. President Buhari, who received letters of credence from Ambassador of Hellenic Republic of Nigeria, Monsieur Lonis Plotas, at the presidential villa, said the long-standing diplomatic and business relations with the country will be strengthened for mutual benefit, noting that most global challenges will need collective efforts for lasting solutions. In his remarks, Plotas said business ties between Nigeria and Hellenic Republic, also known as Greece, had been long, particularly the flour mills that employed about 50,000 Nigerians at some point in the country's history. He said he was very proud to be his country's ambassador at such a historic moment when the country will be celebrating its 60th anniversary, while his country will be celebrating its 200 years anniversary this year. The ambassador told President Muhammadu Buhari that he will continue to support and project Nigeria across Europe at every opportunity while sharing its expertise in agriculture with institutions and individuals in the country. While receiving the letters of credence of the ambassador of Cuba to Nigeria, Clara Margarita Pulido, the president said the cultural similarities between both countries should serve as impetus for working together, especially on trade, adding that Cuba's effort in developing medicine and engineering could provide a springboard. President Buhari said Nigeria received support at international forums from Cuba for many years, assuring that the bilateral relations will be strengthened. In his remarks, the ambassador of Cuba said he is proud to serve in Nigeria. He said the history of Cuba is incomplete without Nigeria and Nigerians. He recalled that some of the slaves brought into Cuba were Nigerians, and they played great roles in the development of the country. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on Business. Over to Aguerita.
Welcome to Business Desk. OPEC would deliver a 1.2 million barrels a day production cut at its meeting later this week. According to MFUG Bank's head of mineral research, Ehsan Kohoman, OPEC would deliver and go beyond what is currently priced in. If OPEC disappoints, however, oil prices are likely to fall further. Oil prices have been under pressure since the outbreak of the coronavirus in January. The demand outlook for the year. Following the massive sell-off in recent weeks, Ehsan Kohoman, head of mineral research at MUFG, said his baseline scenario is 1.2 million barrels a day of additional production cuts from the second quarter of 2020 until the end of the year. He said 1.2 million barrels a day of this baseline case for the next 9 months is what is going to cause the next leg higher in oil prices in the week ahead. When asked whether there is a consensus in the analysis for a cut of that magnitude, Kohoman acknowledged that this different oil markets strategy of Saudi Arabia and Russia could be a key sticking point. Riyadh generally prefer higher oil prices, while Moscow is comfortable with $50 oil. He said, in the spirit of keeping the OPEC agreement alive, they will take coordinated action when they meet this week in Vienna. And that is all on Business Desk. Until I come your way again, I'm Aguarita.
And on the international scene, Germany's Interior Minister rebuffed Chancellor Angela Merkel's attempt to shake hands with him on Monday as the number of novel coronavirus cases in the country rose to 150, with Berlin reporting its first infection. When Merkel reached out to greet host Seehofer at a meeting on immigration in Berlin, he smiled and kept both his hands to himself. A staff member of the health authorities of the southern federal state of Baden-Württemberg demonstrated on a negative sample the test for the coronavirus in a laboratory in Stuttgart, southern Germany on March 2, 2020. They both laughed and Merkel then threw her hands up in the air before taking a seat. Health experts have recommended avoiding handshakes as a way of preventing the spread of the novel coronavirus. There are now 150 confirmed cases in Germany, Lothar Weiler of the Robert Koch Institute Diseases Control Agency said on Monday morning, up from 129 the previous day. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara government takes sensitization to abattoirs, butchers and food vendors. Former INEC chairman says they have found cure to coronavirus. Now students call on the federal government to mobilize them for service. On business, OPEC will go beyond what the market has currently priced it. And on the international scene, Minister refuses to shake hands with Merkel over coronavirus. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant time. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.